So this third video is about how do we get this done in a well woman visit? Because after all, you know that the majority of patients ask these questions when you're trying to get out of the room on the well woman visit. So I suggest be proactive during the exam. I don't know what everybody else does during a GYN exam, but I hit the ground running. From the minute I lay her down to begin a breast exam, I am asking questions. So, how do I start the conversation? Ask everyone, are you having sex? Very easy. The answer is either yes, which is great, and I'll explore that to make sure it's really good sex, or it's going to be no. When it's no, I want to know, no interest or no good partner. Is it you or is it him? Unfortunately, sometimes it's both. Let's go with him real quickly. If it's him, it's often erectile failure, premature ejaculation, or something else that requires it to be addressed by another physician, such as a urologist. Understand in your community who the urologists are that will address sexual function in men, because just like gynecology, most urologists do not like to have that conversation. Refer your patient's husband to a good urologist to go over his problems. But lots of women think it's just way too much work. How about the guy with prostate cancer, having difficulties with his erection? Now, in my visits, of course, I offer lots of remedies for each of those things. So let's go back to her. The first thing I ask her is, can you have an orgasm? Almost always the answer is yes. My second question is, what's the easiest way for you to have an orgasm? I hope everyone knows that 90% of women require clitoral stimulation to have orgasm. So one of the big complaints in a relationship is he wants her to have an orgasm with vaginal penetration, which is extremely difficult and not so common, but I can offer tips in the classroom of exactly how we might facilitate that. But more importantly, she's not getting clitoral stimulation, either because she's embarrassed to say, I need my vibrator. The older women get, the more important that vibrator becomes to stimulate the clitoris. There are studies that show that bringing a vibration into coupled sexual encounters increases the sexual satisfaction in both parties. I ask the people, are you kissing? And often they look at me funny and say, yeah, they can't remember the last time they laid on the couch on Friday night with a glass of wine and just smooched. You did that when you were dating. Kissing goes away when you're married or in a long-term relationship because the bitterness of the relationship unfortunately bleeds into everyday life. So one of my homework assignments is start your day with a 1-minute deep, sexy kiss with your lover. You'd be surprised what kissing leads to. In most cases, women will get naked within 10 minutes of a good, sexy kiss. Of course, we talked in other videos about the importance of addressing pain and issues with the children coming home early and so forth. But another one that comes up quite often is boredom. So boredom reflects the routineness of the sexual encounter. And again, if they say they're bored, now we've got the 50 Shades of Grey book series out there that has really intensified the discussion on boredom. So offer books or videos that may suggest ways for a couple to change it up. I have a whole line of videos that I like from SinclairInstitute.com, which I can pick out certain types of behaviors that I want that lesson to be. They're created by sex therapists and they're a great tool. There's always a giggle in the patient leaving my office. As the OBGYN, I hope you're discussing the importance of estrogen and maybe even in the direction of use of testosterone. However, you must declare that this is off-label use and document that thoroughly. When we choose estrogen in the sexual health world, it appears that transdermal estrogen is a better choice over oral estrogen, mostly because of its effect on sex hormone binding globulin. So as you know, when a patient takes estrogen orally, it increases SHBG. SHBG binds testosterone and makes it inactive. When you take your estrogens transdermally in hormone therapy doses, it appears not to have that same effect. Birth control pills are notorious for increasing SHBG, and even when discontinued over time, it takes months to correct that. So think about transdermal therapy when you're thinking about choices and options for hormone therapy in your patients. When it comes to testosterone, it's really an off-label product. I will be submitting to you a really nicely done article on the safety and efficacy of testosterone use in women with hypoactive sexual desire disorder. But to this day, we still don't have an FDA-approved product. I'm sure you see the ads in your community about all the competitors in your town, the ER doc and the family practice doc and everyone else who's offering your patient testosterone and getting lots of financial incentives for doing so. Be careful. Many women think they need testosterone, but it is only the thing in a few. Usually, again, it's multifactorial. But as a physician, your key role is to evaluate whether she is deficient. Women of all ages come in and ask for hormone levels. I rarely do hormone levels because I want to listen to the patient, and based on my understanding of where she is in her menstrual status, I can figure out what's going on without all of that lab work. Finally, when we try and think about ways to educate ourselves, we're back to the boredom again. There are fantastic books out there that can explain why does sex go away once we're married. There's an excellent book by Esther Perel called Mating in Captivity, and it explains to you why the more intimate you become in your relationship, the less sexual it becomes. Because everyone is then embarrassed about misbehaving in front of their lover because they so respect their lover. Sometimes we have to be able to slip into our naughty girl brain and enjoy a good sexual encounter. The second thing are videos. While 80% of men are visual, 20% of women are also visual. So sometimes watching a video together will be helpful in learning a new technique or even opening the door to a discussion of, I'd like to try this. And it is surprising to me how many people will watch a video with their partner upon my suggestion. So I keep a series of these videos in a cabinet in my office, and I encourage couples to look together. So if they don't want to read the book, they can then watch a video. Finally, with today's technology, I've noticed that when I'm out at a restaurant and observing couples, that very often date night is two people sitting at a table having dinner, each on their phones, doing something else. Now, I'm sure they're not sexting or sending each other naughty pictures of each other. However, if they were, that might be a good prelude to their evening later. But I suspect that they're both in their own worlds, looking at their video, looking at their emails and their texts, and they're not talking to their lover, who's sitting right across the table. When I see that, that always disturbs me because it speaks of what's going on. So there are podcasts, of which I will give you lots of ideas in your packet on podcasts. There's apps. There's the Pocket Kama Sutra, that is an app for your phone, your smartphone, and it gives you different positions. You can then mark, I've tried it, love it, and you can upload that to your lover during the business day and say, maybe we should try this tonight. So putting those little ideas in someone's head, sending them a podcast on something that you think is pertinent in your relationship, provoking those little sexy thoughts throughout the day turns the brain on. And after all, we've said that sex is all in your head. Well, I think that's true. But remember, sex for women requires stress relief. Sex for men is a stress reliever. And while I don't think women have low desire for sex, they simply have low desire for the sex they are having. So stay tuned and we'll teach you how to have great sex for a lifetime.